Alexandra Levine welcomes you to the Alexandra Levine Live Podcast. Today, we've got a packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you well informed. So, please click the subscribe button to get notified of her upcoming episodes. If you like what Alexandra talks about, then please share the Alexandra Levine Live to others. Alexandra also looks forward to your comments during this episode. Tonight's Alexandra Levine Live Podcast starts now.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello, this is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. You are all in tonight with me, Alexandra Levine. The title of my show tonight is, quote, "What a Time to Be Alive." Let's put up the first breaking news. So everyone's been questioning, where is Senator Mitch McConnell from Kentucky? Laura Loomer reports that Mitch McConnell is officially brain dead and is only being kept alive by machines. Question to my audience, do you believe this? As you know, Mitch McConnell has not been in the Senate, and he's holding up the Save America Act vote, according to Senate Majority Leader John Thune. Isn't it interesting? We need this passed. This is something that's important, but Mitch McConnell, unfortunately, is nowhere to be seen. There was also reports that Mitch McConnell is dead. Then Scott Jennings, who's a CNN analyst host, who's Republican, he said that he spoke to Senator Mitch McConnell a couple days ago and said that the guy's recovering and he's doing just fine. As you know, Mitch McConnell, he fell, he's been unconscious. And the weird thing is that after he fell, his wife, Elaine Chao, flew to China. Question to my audience. Why would she fly to China when her husband is unconscious in a hospital bed? Is it because she's trying to put her assets back together? Is it because she wants to make sure that if her husband dies, that she's all set and ready to go? All I have to say is, I hope this woman has life insurance, or I hope Mitch McConnell's leaving her life insurance. But the truth of the matter is, this guy is over 80. He has been falling. He has been not 100%. Reports said that he's had strokes, heart attacks. That's why I wholeheartedly believe in term limits. These people stay in the Congress till they're practically dead, and it doesn't help we the people. Mitch McConnell should have left a long time ago, and so many others like Dianne Feinstein and so forth that stayed until they literally died in office. Chuck Schumer will stay until he dies in office. Again, what's the point? You're like 80-something years old. You've accomplished everything. I know that the more you stay, the more pension you get. It's more money in your pocket. But you know what? You already get that pension. You already get it if you serve for at least 30 years. So why the hell stay and embarrass yourself and embarrass the American people? It looks very weak when you see a senator stumbling and bumbling and falling in the halls of the Senate. It looks very bad that his wife flew to China 3 days after he fell and knocked unconscious in bed, or is unconscious in bed. And then it's also embarrassing that we have no idea what's going on with him, whether he's alive, whether he's dead, whether he's a vegetable, according to Laura Loomer. These are questions that need to be answered by the spokespeople that work for Mitch McConnell, like, I don't know, his chief of staff or someone from his staff, anybody at this point, a spokesperson, press secretary, anybody that he hires should be speaking on behalf of him and letting the American people know what's up. This is really scary and this is really sad. Of course, a lot of people are blaming Laura Loomer, saying she's a quack. Nobody should listen to her. She's false reporting, blah, blah, blah. She's causing controversy, drama. I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of things that Laura Loomer reports on that have been proven true, such as the fact that Tucker Carlson gets paid by the Qatari government. Laura Loomer exposed all that. So, again, we need to ask these questions. If Mitch McConnell is your senator, you have the right to ask him questions and email his staff and hold them to the fire, because this is pretty serious stuff. And it's very, very bad that we don't know the state of Mitch McConnell. It's also very bad to note that because we don't know the state of him, he's holding up the Save America Act, or the passing of the Save America Act. Let's go to the next slide, slide 2. So this is another breaking news. My friend David J. Harris Jr. from Newsmax, he reported Marine Le Pen, who is very conservative. She supported Donald Trump when he ran for president. She lost her appeal in the embezzlement case against her and has been sentenced to 3 years imprisonment, 2 suspended, and 1 year with an ankle monitor. Isn't that lovely? Doesn't isn't this considered election interference? Political indifferences? She's previously stated that she won't run for president next year if she's forced to campaign with the monitor. This means that Jordan Bardella will likely be becoming the party's presidential candidate, which is a disaster, which we don't want. And you see what France has turned into, especially under Macron. But this woman was completely in the now, on the track to win. And of course, this scandal comes out and they try to silence you. Any hardcore European country or any country that believes in socialist rule, they try to silence the most conservative people. I hate to say, look what the Israeli government's trying to do to Bibi Netanyahu. He's on a BS trial, and they want to put him in jail. And President Trump has called for the president to to withdraw this whole trial, to recuse him. But that's not happening. President says no, he's going to follow the law. He's going to go through the trial process like everybody else. It's complete election interference. It's political interference. Just because the government doesn't agree with the head person or the person that's popular, you don't get rid of them. It's disgusting and it's insane. Now, people have claimed that she committed a lot of these crimes, but in my opinion, I think this was a complete setup. I feel very bad for this woman. I feel very bad that she's sentenced to 3 years in prison and she's got to live 1 year with an ankle monitor just because they don't like her political views. Again, karma's a bitch, and history will show who are the fakers and who are the real people, who are the socialists and who are the capitalists. I can tell you this woman is a capitalist. This woman supports the America First agenda from Trump, and she supports the conservative values and wants conservative values back to France. And she also completely denounces anti-Semitism, and she also wants France to be France again. As you know, the halls of France, the Champs-Élysées, is not what it used to be. This is really disgusting and really heinous. And the people that were in charge of this, I hope karma's coming to them. I really do. Let's go to the next breaking news. So this one is very interesting. Ryan Fournier, catastrophe dodged. Andrew Gillum, the Democrat who nearly became governor of the state of Florida in 2018, was just arrested for drug possession in Alabama. Remember, Ron DeSantis only beat this guy by a razor-thin 0.4 points. Florida was a fraction of a percent away from having this absolute disaster running the state. I can tell you because I am a Floridian. It was disgusting to note that he was so close to becoming the governor of Florida. This guy was the former mayor of Tallahassee. He made Tallahassee a piece of crap. Tallahassee was full of drugs and crime. I remember going there right before, actually the day before the first inauguration of Ron DeSantis, and how there was people literally doing cocaine and heroin right in the open morning, like right in the open, and police officers were there and they weren't allowed to do anything because former Mayor Gillum wouldn't allow the police to do their job and arrest these people that were openly selling crack and doing prostitution in broad daylight. I witnessed it in real time. And also, as we saw in 2020 and 2022, that Andrew Gillum was, as you know, found in a hotel room with some guy that he paid, and he was naked on the floor with like drugs next to him. But of course, because he was black, I hate to say it was a race thing with a liberal judge who decided not to put this man in prison, stating that we didn't know that if the drugs were his drugs or if somebody else's drugs or if he took drugs. They lied and said they didn't find drugs in his system. Andrew Gillum said, I didn't take drugs. I was just very drunk on alcohol. And that was all the throw up that was on the floor, even though they did find some substance in the throw up. But now he's in the state of Alabama where they don't mess around. And this guy was arrested for drug possession just a few days ago. I mean, his wife stands by his side. I don't know why. The guy, he claims he's not gay. He claims he may be bisexual, bi-curious, whatever. I don't think him and his wife have had relations for a long time. I mean, these are sick people in the Democrat Party. And to think that this guy was almost my governor of Florida, that's why people are being very skeptical and very attentive on who the next governor of Florida will be. I can tell you, I know Congressman Byron Donalds. I've met Congressman Byron Donalds. He's up 42%, maybe even more in some polls. But then you have his other opponents like Fishback and Paul Renner and the lieutenant governor. And, they're really trying to hurt Byron Donalds and saying all these things and interrupting his private events that you have to register for and pay for. Byron Donalds says, I don't need to debate Fishback. He's at like 3%. I'm at 52. Why would I debate someone who's going to lose? But people are, they're very skeptical of Byron Donalds. They're very skeptical. They're not particularly happy that President Trump endorsed him. They feel that the president could have done better. They feel like there's a better person than Byron Donalds. But we'll see. As you know, we have a primary in August. I can tell you, though, that Byron Donalds will probably win the primary, and he will probably go on to becoming the next governor of Florida. And if he does win the primary, we as Republicans in Florida, we must back our Republican nominee. I know a lot of people weren't happy with Ron as the governor. They wanted Adam Putnam. Pam Bondi wanted Adam Putnam. Ashley Moody wanted Adam Putnam. And then all of a sudden, Ron wins. He was endorsed by President Trump twice. And then people came around and they started backing Ron. And Ron has been one of the best Florida governors that we've ever had. Now, I can tell you that this is just my opinion, guys. I hope I'm proven wrong. I don't feel in my heart that Byron Donalds will be the same governor as Ron DeSantis has been for the state of Florida. But we will have to see. We will have to see. Ron has done such great things for Florida. It will be very tough shoes to fill. But I have to have faith. I have to have faith that my Governor Ron will pass the torch handily to Byron, will help him in his transition to governor. And because it is very different when you are in a federal government and you go from federal to state level. And I can tell you that Ron, he'll be known as the best governor, more so than a congressman. Some people forget that my governor was a congressman for many years. People now just think of him as Governor Ron DeSantis. And I can also tell you that my governor is not done. People say he may run for president. I advise him not to do that in 2028. He may be asked to be vice president, who knows, or he may even get a job in Trump's administration. We'll see. But I can tell you that my governor is not done. His political career is not over. Running for president, it may be, but he may try to redeem himself for the next couple of years, and maybe he will run for president 2032 or maybe 2044. Who knows? But I can tell you that Ron has done great for the state of Florida. Him and President Trump are in tandem. They're working great together, and they want to keep Florida great again. They really do. And Ron will be working behind the scenes, probably with Byron Donalds, to keep Florida great. And now we go into segment one. I totally forgot. I blanked for a minute. I thought I had another segment or another screen, but I guess I didn't. But there was a lot of breaking news. So segment one, this is very important. This stems on where is Senator Mitch McConnell? As I said in breaking news, Laura Loomer claims that he's dead, claims that he's a vegetable. He's been unconscious for days. Scott Jennings of CNN, who's a Republican, called his senator and asked how he was and claimed that he spoke to the guy and said he was recovering and he'll be up and back into the Senate floor in no time. Again, question to my audience. Do you agree with that? Do you believe that Mitch McConnell is okay and he's recovering, or do you believe that he's dying in a hospital bed? Some people claim that he'll be dead on this Friday. And what do you guys think of his wife taking off and flying to China? People think that she's Chinese. She's not. She's Taiwanese. She was born in Taiwan. Her brother-in-law is Chinese. Her sister-in-law is Chinese. She does have ties to China. She and her family and Mitch have done a lot of business in China, especially under Biden. They cashed in hardcore. So if you don't think that Elaine Chao is putting her best interest at heart right now, we'll have to see. I don't really think that it's a good look that Elaine Chao decided to go to China 3 days after they found out her husband was unconscious and in a hospital bed. But again, further investigation has to go through why she's in China, what's she doing there, what's she plotting, what she's planning. I don't really trust this woman 100%. I don't trust Mitch McConnell either, even though he's like practically on his deathbed. And I'll be honest, I feel bad for the guy. He's had heart attacks, he's had strokes. I feel bad for the guy. People should have told him to bow out early on. And like I said, it's not a good look that he literally fell in the halls of the Senate. But let's put up the first slide. So the first slide is written by Bill Waterman of Facebook. He says, news sources are reporting Mitch McConnell is brain dead. He has not been heard from in 3 weeks and suffering a full cardiac arrest and is still in the hospital. If this is true, a special election will be held for his seat, and Thomas Massie could potentially win it and be in the Senate. Oikavalt. I won't speak evil, but will say the truth loud and clear that few men have done more harm to people than this man. May he get the reward he reserves when they pull the plug. Well, I don't agree with that assessment. I don't think that's right. In Judaism, we do not wish ill on anybody. We don't wish anyone dead. In Judaism, we actually do the opposite. We say Mishaberachs, we say Refuah Shalemas, which is prayers for the sick. We actually pray for the sick. I do pray for non-Jews in synagogue, and Mitch McConnell will be one of those people that I will be praying for. But karma is a bitch. I always believe in that. But this man dying like a vegetable, and if he's on a ventilator, that is not a great way to die. My grandfather died that way. It's not a great way to die. You don't want to die that way. And again, we don't wish ill on anybody. I really hope to God that they don't have a special election. I hope to God they don't put Thomas Massie in as the next senator, because he's an anti-Semitic piece of crap and votes against Trump every time. And the people of Kentucky spoke in the primary when they got rid of his ass. So again, question to my audience. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Mitch McConnell is a vegetable on his deathbed, or do you feel that that's propaganda? Do you feel that it's just mainstream media causing drama and controversy? As you know, the mainstream media, that's their job. That's their job, to cause drama, to make up things, to make you be like, oh my God, is Mitch McConnell really dead? And then, of course, they put down people like Laura Loomer, who is an investigative reporter that really does do her research and does have receipts to back it up. And a lot of people are saying that, you know, Laura Loomer is just saying this to cause drama too, and she's a hack, and she's a this, and she's a that. And they're trying to shut her down and not say what she's saying is credible. But again, you have to see where the source is and see where it's coming from. As again, I'll repeat again. I feel bad for Mitch McConnell. I feel bad for what's going on with him. And, you know, it's very sad. My friend Donald Willinger said, Alexandra, I was on life support for 6 weeks and I'm alive. There are some people that do go on life support and they end up being alive. My friend Kim Stansberry, her husband was on life support for a while. He was able to get off of it and he breathed just on his own. And I think he died not being on life support. So there are miracles like that. There are miracles like that. But again, we don't know. We're not there in the hospital. We don't know what's going on. I'm going to emphasize again that we need real evidence, real hardcore evidence from his chief of staff, from Mitch McConnell's spokesperson, even from his wife. Just say something. Give us a heads up what's going on with the man, so we can all stop reading the conspiracy theories and stop, reading into things and overthinking and thinking this and making up this and, playing the game of telephone, which never works out correctly, because when one person says something, they change everything and make it up and it's all different. But it's not fair to the American people. We need to move on with our lives. We need the Save America Act passed. We need all these legislative things passed, but we can't because Mitch McConnell is holding us up. And all we have to know is why. Why is this being held up? Where the hell is he? What hospital? How is he being treated? Is he being taken care of? Again, Scott Jennings said that he was up and running and being healed, but we need a statement from him. Or as I said, statement from his spokesperson, campaign manager, chief of staff, his wife, somebody, his press secretary, somebody. You don't leave people in the dark. And if his staff is incompetent and they don't want to deliver, they were told not to say anything, then they're complicit. They're complicit. That's what happened with Todd Crandall in Baltimore County. For a year, Todd Crandall was in a rehab center, drunk, alcoholic. It wasn't until the Baltimore Banner pushed out the story where they showed live video of him trying to kill himself. He had a gun in his drawer and he was drunk as shit. He was taken down by 3 police officers, handcuffed, saying, I'm not going to the hospital. I hate hospital. I mean, it was a really sad moment to see. And all of Todd Crandall's staff knew about his drinking problem for a year. And guess what? You, the taxpayers of Baltimore County, paid for his rehab center, paid for his alcohol, paid for his gun probably. But you were in the dark for over a year because everybody was asking, where's Todd Crandall? He wasn't showing up at any county council meetings. What's going on with him? Now, if you see him, which I saw him during early voting, he looked like hell. He lost a lot of weight because he had to detox all that alcohol that was in him, but he was pale, frail. He put his head down. He didn't want to be recognized. His wife left him. His wife actually filed a peace order against her own husband because he beat her up and tried to beat up his daughter. I mean, this is all common knowledge for over a year. But he decided not, to continue his term, not bow out. I'm actually glad that he decided to continue his term and he'll retire because he's not running again. and he'll collect that health insurance, and he'll collect that high pension, and he'll continue to go to rehab. I heard he's doing pretty well. But again, I blame his staff for not letting the American people know, not allowing the people of Sparrows Point and Edgemere and Dundalk and Essex to not let the people know that their county councilman is suffering or he's in rehab right now recovering. To hide that from the voters is the most disgusting thing. It's really sick. You vote for these people and you expect them to do the job. If they can't do the job, you, the people, need to know why they're not doing the job. Also, people would tell me they called Todd Crandall's office. He wouldn't get back to them. His staff wouldn't get back to them. That's why, because they had to cover up for the fact that their boss was in rehab. That's why he couldn't get back. That's why he couldn't get back to his voters. All they had to say was, we're so sorry, Mr. Crandall is out, or he's in rehab, or he's taking care of himself, or he's detoxing, and, do the job for him. The cover-ups, the shadow governments, the whisper campaigns. It's getting old, guys. It's getting old. It's an old White House, or not White House, it's an old Capitol Hill trick. And guess what? The American people are not stupid, and they are catching on. I applaud every single voter for calling this out. I applaud every American for calling this out, because it's not fair to you. It's not fair to we the people. And it's disgusting and it's painful that we have to go through the not knowing because of the cover-ups. Now, speaking of Laura Loomer, investigative reporter, let's put up what she wrote on her Twitter account. So the first thing, this was yesterday, she wrote, new high-level source close to the White House tells me, quote, Mitch McConnell is officially brain dead. He's not coming back. So of course, she's not going to tell you the source, but she, as you know, she's very close to the president. She's very close to people that work in the White House, and she does do her research and she does deliver. I know Laura Loomer, she would never put out anything if she didn't have the evidence or the receipts to back it up. Let's go to the next slide. So then she writes, Mitch McConnell is being kept, quote, alive by life support machines by my White House source. He told me Mitch McConnell is an organ failure. And as I reported, source told me he has allegedly been declared a vegetable, quote, brain dead by doctors. And the White House has been told, quote, McConnell isn't ever coming back. Again, to my audience, do you agree with this? Do you believe that what Laura Loomer is saying is correct? That Mitch McConnell is an organ failure, he's a vegetable, he's brain dead. The White House has been told he's never coming back. I mean, this is some serious stuff. Again, Laura Loomer doesn't work for Mitch McConnell, but she's getting more information than what we, the people, are getting. Again, Laura Loomer's not the spokesperson for Mitch McConnell. She's not under his payroll. She's not under any congressional payroll or government payroll. And she's digging in and getting to the crux of it. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, I thought there was a third one there. I thought we divided it into three parts. No, I guess that was it. I thought it was divided into three parts. Freedom from Maryland said, I trust Laura Loomer. McConnell is gone. Again, question to my audience is he really gone? This is Laura Loomer putting her life on the line by reporting this, because reporters, they get shot over this stuff. She wouldn't put this out unless it was factually correct. I wholeheartedly believe that. She's not about clicks and likes. Yes, she's upset that she doesn't have White House press credentials. I understand that. But she's got Pentagon press credentials. And again, she's very close to the president. And he listens to her. He's gotten rid of a lot of people under the CIA, the DNI, the ODNI because of her. Because of her heavily vetting and peeling the onion of a lot of people that President Trump has hired or the heads of the departments have hired. She will go in and dissect the person. She'll look up their finance reports. She'll look up who they're married to, who they're related to, their connections, if they're bought and paid for by George Soros, if they're a part of Act Blue. She will dig, and she'll dig and she'll dig until she reports it. She's not like Candace Owens, who just puts out stuff that the Qatari government tells her to put out. Laura Loomer is not bought and paid for by anybody but herself and her subscribers. But it's up to the American people to decide. Michelle Narek said maybe she went to China to escape any investigations. That's about Mitch McConnell's wife. I think he may have passed and they were delaying it till she was able to get out of the USA. That's a believable theory. That is a believable theory. That she's putting together everything. That's why she went to China, to put all her assets together to make sure that her cover-up is covered up. Because I'm sure there's a lot of things they need to cover up in that family. A lot. She doesn't want to be investigated. She doesn't want to go in front of the House Judiciary Committee or the Senate Judiciary Committee. She doesn't want to be held accountable. And her excuse will be, my husband's dead. He died. I don't know anything. She knows a lot. She knows a lot. Remember, she worked for Trump. She was one of the secretaries. She was in his cabinet. She knows a lot about a lot. She's no dummy. And there's a significant age gap between her and Mitch McConnell. But again, why are these people still in office? 80, 90 years old. Again, what purpose? You've served the people. You served your purpose. Why stay in government when your bones are failing, your head is failing? Again, they pushed Mr. Otto Penn, Joe Biden himself, knowing that he had dementia, knowing he had cancer. They did that on purpose so they could control him. There's a woman that's part of the Baltimore County Republican Central Committee. She's the chairwoman. She's not 100% with it. The committee pushed her in because they knew they could control her. But guess what? She lost. And we'll talk about that later. How more than half of the people on her central committee decided not to run again. A lot of them have resigned before November, which is the new swearing in of the new members. And very conservative people actually got voted out because she decided to push a lot of rhinos into running against these people. And also the redistricting didn't help either. That's because of the new county council map. But think about that. Think about that. More than half of your central committee isn't coming back. Yeah, there's some new members coming in to fill the slot, but some of those new members are probably going to resign. Remember, they narrowed it from 4 to a district to 3. So there's only 3 per district now. It's going to look really bad when you go to a central committee meeting in Baltimore County and there's nobody there. And that's because of the chairwoman, the person from the top. Again, why has the Save America Act not been passed? Because, according to John Thune and others, because of Mitch McConnell. Donald Legend says, why China? Well, she's got a lot of assets in China. She's got in-laws that live in China. Like I said, her brother and sister-in-law, they all live in China. Her sister lives in China. Remember, she's Taiwanese, not Chinese. People think she's Chinese. She's Taiwanese. But what is going to be in the next couple days the outcome and the conclusion of Mitch McConnell? And of course, if Mitch McConnell does die or he did die, we will come to you live with that breaking news. Well, before we get to our next segment, don't forget we have one of my great sponsors, FoliumpX.com, toxic heavy metals, full body detox, free radicals. This is great after 4th of July. I had ice cream on 4th of July. It was kosher, the Great American Fair. I'll get to that later. But I've had a detox. I actually had a detox today. I went to an IV, or I had an IV drip done in me, and it detoxed my whole entire body. But I have to take these super antioxidants with it to fully detox. So this is really great, guys. If you have cancer, if you're trying to get pregnant, if you're infertile, if you have autoimmune disease, get these supplements. They're on sale right now still for 4th of July, and they'll be on sale again for the summer and, of course, for back to school. So go to FoliumpX.com. That's the QR code. Click on it, get the discount, and we will be right back, guys. Stay with us. We are live. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to this Alexandra Levine Live with the America's Pulse Network. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We are currently live on about 15 channels. We're live on Rumble, on YouTube, on Substack, Spotify, Parler, TikTok, Truth Social, Facebook. You name it, we're on it. You can always go to americaspulsenetwork.com. You can watch us live. If you're interested in becoming a podcaster on our network, go to americaspulsenetwork.com, fill out the podcaster application. Also, we have people that are interested in sponsoring my show and other shows. You can actually, excuse me, that was me drinking water and seltzer. If you're interested in sponsoring the entire network, go to americaspulsenetwork.com and fill out the sponsorship application. We would love to have you sponsor my show, other shows, and the entire program. So segment 2 is major breaking news. So is this guy, Platner, worse than Swalwell? Platner, as you know, is currently the Democrat nominee for Senate in the state of Maine. This guy is a known Nazi, anti-Semite. And the ironic thing is he had a bunch of Jewish people, Jewish senators, endorse him. Like Bernie Sanders, who's an anti-Jew Jew, hashtag not my Jew, hashtag not a true Jew, hashtag not a real Jew. And of course, Senator Chuck Schumer, hashtag not a true Jew, hashtag not a real Jew, hashtag not my Jew. And Elizabeth Warren, aka Pocahontas, who's a fake Indian. There's like not 1 ounce of Indian in her. And many other crazy Democrats that endorsed and supported this man. Well, now all of a sudden, all these allegations are coming out, and a new allegation came out that it was from an old ex-girlfriend that claimed that he raped her and sexually assaulted her. So now all of a sudden, Chuck Schumer, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, all these people that endorsed Mr. Platner are pulling out of their endorsements and calling for him to get out of the race. They're also looking at the numbers. He's extremely down below the incumbent senator, Susan Collins. I think Susan Collins is up like 63%, and he's down to 32%. So the numbers don't look right. In my opinion, this has nothing to do with the sexual assault, rape accusation that just came out, the fact that he's a Nazi. The Democrats just don't have the numbers to beat Susan Collins. So now they literally have a week to replace Mr. Platner and get someone in who's, I guess, not as radicalized, or someone that calls himself a moderate Democrat, but when he gets in, he's going to be a progressive, or when she gets in, she's going to be a hardcore progressive, like Spamberger from Virginia, and just screw the people and also lie to the people and confuse the people. My question to my audience is, who can they get to replace this guy in Maine? Because this guy was so popular. I mean, I couldn't believe all these people that were endorsing him and supporting him. They gave the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, crap for his tattoo, which was clearly about the Constitution of the United States of America. But when this guy has a Nazi symbol tattoo on his chest, that's considered acceptable. And remember, they threw the kitchen sink at President Trump. All these women came out and said that President Trump sexually assaulted them and sexually touched them and did all this stuff. So there was like up to 17 to 20 women that lied and said that President Trump had a sexual relationship with them. I mean, they made President Trump out to be like Platner and Bill Clinton and all these men, all in one, which of course turned out they were all false accusations, and it was all false. But again, what do you guys think? What do you guys think of Mr. Platner and what's going on and how all the Democrats have turned on him? I think it's funny, ironic, asinine, and it's disgusting that they even pushed this guy Platner to begin with. I mean, this guy was like a movie star. His name was everywhere. I mean, Fox News, Newsmax, all these mainstream media outlets were, every time they said the guy's name, he was getting free press. I would never put this guy on a pedestal. I wouldn't even say his name. But I laugh because, you have to say to yourself, how did it get this far? I mean, the American people knew that this guy was trash, But again, the Democrats pushed him through. Bernie Sanders stood with him, thought he was great. But the fact that Bernie Sanders is not telling him to bow out, very interesting and ironic. Let's put up the first slide. So again, my friend David Harris Jr., this was breaking news, came out today. Graham Platner is refusing to drop out of the main Senate race unless he's allowed to choose his own successor, effectively holding the Democrat Party hostage amid serious allegations. This comes after Bernie Sanders publicly urged him to step aside. Question to my audience: do you think that Graham Platner should pick his own successor? Is it going to be somebody who's radicalized as him? Is it going to be someone that believes in Islamic jihad? Is it going to be somebody that wants Sharia law in the state? What kind of person is Graham Platner going to pick? And do you think this is a good deal? Or do you think he should just bow out gracefully? I mean, the guy's reputation has already been ruined. I don't understand why his wife stays with him. She knows all about his explicit things and accusations, and she still stands by her man. I would never stand by my husband if he was like this. I would never stand by any man like this, who beat up women and sexually assaulted women. He got naked at his brother's wedding. I mean, this guy is crazy and has a Nazi symbol tattoo, hates Jews, hates Christians. What kind of person is Graham Platner going to pick to replace him? It's so sick that it's come this far. But Graham Platner's trying to make a deal. He's not stepping down unless he's allowed to choose his own successor. Again, question to my audience: do you think this is a good idea? Let's go to the next slide. So slide number 2 says Maine Senate candidate Platner says campaign is deciding best path forward after new sexual assault allegation. A woman who previously dated Maine Democrat Senator candidate Graham Platner said he drunkenly forced her to have sex after she told him to stop, according to a Politico report released Monday, leading prominent supporters to pull their endorsements and throwing a must-win race for the party into turmoil. Platner denied the allegation, but said he would be considering next steps for his campaign. And reports came out that he had all these fundraisers planned and these events, and of course he had to cancel them or he's postponing them, whatnot. I mean, who wants to give money to this? But the sick part is that these people were giving money to him to begin with. Any person, I hate to say it, that gave money to this freaking anti-Semite, predator, sexual assailant, they need their head examined. Whether it came directly from your pocket or somebody else's or your company's, you should be ashamed. The fact now that this woman comes out and says, oh my God, he raped me, now it's a problem? Now he should get out of the race? No, it's because his numbers are low. It's because his numbers are low, and they know that he's not going to beat Susan Collins. It's very hard to beat an incumbent, by the way. It's very hard to beat an incumbent. And as you know, Susan Collins is not a hardcore conservative. She's not really a lover for Trump. She's a rhino. We know she's a rhino. She's been kind of voting with Trump a little bit. It took her a while to get on board with the Save America Act, and it took her a while to vote for Justice Kavanaugh. But she comes at the last second of the last moment and votes with Trump. We wish that she would give him such a hassle. But who are they going to get to replace this Platner guy? Yeah, I agree with Donald Willinger. Platner needs to play like a banana and split. I agree. And Michelle Narek says, I'm thankful that we have independent journalists now, like myself, and streamers who are not beholden to special interests, like myself and our network. We know much more now than we ever have had with our elected officials. And it's true. Conservative media like our platform, like my show, like Damon Galdo's show and The Pulse and everyone on our network, we're not bought and paid for. We are not bought and paid for. We're not beholden to special interests and lobbyists. I'm totally against that, completely. And whoever is our sponsor, they don't own me. We're just promoting the product. And we are very, very careful who sponsors our shows and who sponsors the network, etc. We're not beholden to people that don't share the same values that we do. We heavily vet our sponsors. We heavily vet our podcasters. It's very important that we have people that respect Judeo-Christian values and respect the rule of law and don't go against the rule of law and don't shit on our president. Whether you like President Trump or not, we will not have people on our network that report unfairly and have TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. We will not allow that. But this guy, Platner, again, I have no empathy for him. I don't understand why the voters would vote for this. I don't have sympathy for Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and the people that have endorsed him and supported him and given him money. Shame on them. Shame on them. They're the ones that are ruining the Democrat Party. The progressive wing of the Democratic Party is ruining the party. That's why they need to be gone. They need to be removed from office. They need to be voted out or permanently removed. The squad is taking over so badly. We should not have these Nazi crazies in the Democrat Party, and we shouldn't have alt-right white supremacists taking over the Republican Party. We have crazy alt-white supremacist Jew haters in the Republican Party. I can't stand it. That's why there's a lot of people that are independents or a lot of people that just don't believe in party. I don't even go by party anymore. When people say, are you a Republican, Democrat? I say I'm a conservative. I do not put party first. I put principle first. I don't say I'm a Republican, except when I go to vote. In the state of Florida, they require photo ID. So they have to know what party I'm affiliated with. But on a regular, everyday basis, to you, to my audience, I don't call myself a Republican. I call myself a common sense constitutional conservative. So does Sean Hannity. So does many others. President Trump calls himself a common sense conservative. Because the labels of parties, again, we're seeing, if you call yourself a Republican, then people put you with the alt-right part of the party. If you call yourself a Democrat, or if you switch from Republican to Democrat, they put you a part of the progressive squad of the Democrat Party, the Islamists, the radical Islamists. That's why people have asked me, Jewish people, oh my God, should I switch from Republican to Democrat to vote out, pro-BDS people in a Democrat primary? No, because you don't understand. When you switch parties, yeah, you yourself know you're not a progressive crazy, but the rest of the people don't. You're switching to a party that is a part of that. Being a Republican, you're switching to a party that is part of the alt-right. That's why, again, a lot of people become unaffiliated independents, or they just don't call themselves a party. But we can't keep having these Nazi crazies in the Democrat Party, these progressive Islamists in the Democrat Party, and we can't keep having these white supremacist anti-Semites also in the Republican Party. They shouldn't even be there. The fact that they even get in office is scary. The fact that they're running is scary. The fact that they become nominees. We don't want a bunch of Zohar Mandamis in this country. Again, President Trump said we will never be a socialist nation. He has done everything he can to make sure we are not a socialist nation. But it's up to we, the people, to also make sure we're not a socialist nation. That's why we can't have these people in office. Call them out, push them out, whatever you got to do. Don't allow them to invade the United States or to invade the Republican Party or invade parties, period. Let's put up the next slide. So this is also by Laura Loomer. It says, make every single voter remember the entire Democrat Party endorsed a Nazi who has been accused of raping women. That's important. I hear there are more women and possibly even kids on Kick, K-I-K. The Democrat better own this shit, pardon my language. They better swallow it all because this is their guy. Make them own it. The Nazi tattoo wasn't a red line, but rape is a red line for Democrats. Interesting. And I agree with her on that. Every single voter should remember that the entire Democrat Party endorsed this Nazi who's been accused of raping women and doing disgusting things. And that the Nazi tattoo wasn't enough, but rape was enough. I completely agree with her 100%. Janet Mills is still on the ballot. Do you think she will be their candidate? We'll see. That's a good question. That's up to the people of Maine. It's a very, very good question. Oh, Platner's wife seemed scared of him on her interview. She seemed uncomfortable. Maybe there's a history of assault with them. But if I was his wife, I would not stand by him. I would divorce him 100%. It's called do not pass go, do not give out $200. I would completely get rid of his ass. I would not be involved in that. Because when you stand by that, that means that you're okay with what he did. You support the Nazi tattoo. You support the assaults, the rapes. I mean, Mrs. Platner, haven't you had enough of your husband embarrassing you? Do they even have children? If they do have children, their children should, I don't even want to say, their children should be with their grandmother or someone sane. This man should not be around children. This man is disgusting. He should be thrown into the pits of hell, as far as I'm concerned. He's a disgrace. And let's go to the last slide of Libs of TikTok, my good friend. Jewish woman, by the way. So she wrote, Haya Gorman, Maine Democrats had to cancel an event with Graham Platner, but they're still standing behind him and supporting him amid the latest rape allegations. Apparently, they didn't get the memo from the higher-ups of the Democratic Party is officially ditching Platner. So Gorman Democrats, I'm probably mispronouncing it, Gorham, Maine, they're postponing their event for tonight, but they said they'll reschedule. So these crazy people are still behind him. So it's these clubs, these little limelighters, cliques. Again, they want the limelight. It's about limelight at this point. They want their little luncheons and they want money for their clubs. But if the whole Democrat Party is turning against this Platner guy, why is this group of Democrats still supporting him? Did they, I should say, concur with what he's doing? Did they condone what he's doing and not condemn it? It's disgusting. Any person that stands by this Platner guy is sick and has a mental illness, in my opinion. But again, the focus is never again. The focus is we don't want these crazies in the Democrat Party. If you see something, say something. But also, we have to get rid of these people once and for all. Make sure they're not in office. The Zohar Mandamis of the world can't stay in office forever. They shouldn't even be close. Zohar Mandami and Platner should not have even won their Democratic primaries. It's disgusting that they were so, I guess I could say, overshadowed by so much noise that the people didn't really see who were the enemies are. Platner and Zohar Mandami are enemies of the people. That's why President Trump, myself and others are fighting so hard to make America great again and to keep America great. And before we go on to our next segment, don't forget we have our second sponsor, rncstore.com/ALL. This is great because these supplements really help to prevent against cancer. If you have stage 4 cancer, it has been approved and proven to actually help people that have stage 4 cancer. I have a friend, her son has very bad cancer, and I suggested this website to them. There's no harm or foul by taking these supplements. They've worked. We've had John Richardson on my show many times. He's touring all over the country. He's been writing books about this. He's not a quack. People really like him. And again, everything that he wrote has been proven. His father was a doctor. My family were doctors, renowned doctors. I believe wholeheartedly in holistic medicine and holistic remedies instead of going to the extremes like getting chemo and radiation and operations and all this crap. This saves people from going through all of that crap. Actually, when you go on chemo, you end up dying faster because it's poison going into your body. So please, guys, go to rnc.com/ALL. Click on that QR code. You already get the 10% off discount. If you don't click the QR code, you don't get the 10% off discount. Of course, the more you spend, the more discounts you get. So it's very important you click on that discount code, or excuse me, on that QR code. It goes right into the discounts. They're still having 4th of July sales. They're going to have summer sales. They'll have September sales, fall sales. He always has sales. So please, guys, go to rncstore.com/ALL. Again, stay with us. This is Alexandra Levine Live. We are live on the America's Pulse Network. We have a great guest coming on the show in the next segment. Stay with us. You won't want to miss it.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did.
Hey guys, welcome back to Alexandra Levine Live with the America's Pulse. Now we have a great last segment celebrating 250 years of America. I had the pleasure of going to DC this weekend to see the fireworks, to celebrate America, thanks to President Donald John Trump. He put together such a spectacular fireworks display July 4th. And it was hard for some people because he was supposed to speak at 5 p.m. There was massive storms, massive lightning. They told people to leave. They said they were going to have people come back. They were waiting for the storms to subside. 8:30 p.m. happened. Some people were allowed to come back in. Some people weren't allowed to come back in. I think people didn't leave. I think they were told to leave, but they ended up staying somehow or hiding in shelters. And then the president didn't come on until 11:16 p.m. And he was supposed to give a very long speech, but obviously he couldn't because we had to get to right before midnight for the fireworks show to happen. I think he got it in there like 30 seconds before midnight with this spectacular fireworks show. Also, shame on the musicians who backed out of performing at this beautiful celebration. They claimed that it was political. They didn't want to be there. There was nothing political about it. It was all about celebrating America, celebrating veterans, World War II veterans, Vietnam veterans, Korean War veterans. These musicians were idiots. But you know what? It gave the people the opportunity to hear the military band, to listen to the military singers. Some of these people that serve in the military, they were professional singers or they've had training. There were some great people that were singing, and they sounded better than the actual, real musicians. I mean, they were singing cover songs and they did a phenomenal job. So shame on these musicians for turning their back on America, for claiming that this was a political thing, for saying they love our veterans, saying they love this, but they thought it was going to be a political stunt. They are so stupid. And actually their records and their numbers have completely gone down because they decided to opt out and not sing at the Great American Fair and not sing during this entire weekend of 4th of July. I can tell you the Great American Fair is still going on until July 10th. So if you haven't been there, I advise you to go. It was very hot when I was there, and I was there for the entire day. I was literally there for like 8 hours. And you see all 50 states, and it's beautiful the way that the president put it together with the beautiful Ferris wheel. And I loved going there, and I loved being a part of it. And we're going to get to the first slide of it, the first image. Let's put that up there. So this is very historic. So this is the Lincoln Memorial. What you're seeing is the new pool that President Trump put in. He wanted it in by July 4th. Remember, there was a liberal judge that was stopping him that didn't, that said, no, we can't have this. It's a hazard. Da, 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 da. He got this new pool put in right before July 4th so that it was ready for July 4th. It's a beautiful new pool. It's gorgeous. The water is all fresh. It's brand new, and it connects from the Lincoln Memorial to the Washington Monument. Let's put up the next slide. Yep, there it is. So that's right to the Washington Monument. The president actually spoke by the Washington Monument on July 4th. And again, that long lake, that long body of water connects from the Washington Monument to the Lincoln Memorial. It's so beautiful to see that. And the picture of that is just gorgeous. And there were so many people there. So on July 4th, there was about 400,000 people there before the storm started. They ended up in the end with about 150,000 people that were able to come back in to hear the president speak. And of course, the beautiful FLOTUS was there and many other people. Of course, President Trump's family was there and so forth. But it was just a beautiful moment. And he had Blackhawks flying throughout the day, and the Air Force was flying throughout the day. And it was just a really beautiful day, beautiful evening, beautiful moment. Let's go to the next slide. So this I want to share. So as I said, this was part of the Great American Fair, and they were featuring all 50 states. Now, Josh Shapiro, who's the governor of the governor of Pennsylvania, he, decided he didn't want to feature, Pennsylvania. There was like 10 states that abstained because they hate Trump. So what happened was there were certain groups or certain counties, Republican counties, that decided to take it upon themselves to have like their own state type of thing. So this county in New Jersey, which is a Republican county, it's the New Jersey Cape. Instead of, not being a part of it, they made themselves a part of it by buying this space and promoting the Jersey Cape. So it says celebrate America's 250th at the Jersey Cape. Let's put the next slide up. And this was all in the state of New Jersey. Again, they're featuring the Cape, how beautiful it is. And it was a beautiful room. And I went from state to state. I went to almost all 50 states. I missed going to New York because the line was so long. And I tried to get into my home state of Florida, and the line was so long. And it started to storm when I was there. We had to leave at around 8 p.m. They said storms were supposed to come at 5. Then it was like a 3-hour, 3-hour window of no storms. And then at 8 p.m., I saw lightning and they shut down the Ferris wheel. And I could not get in to see the state of Florida. And they were giving out free stuffed animals. They were giving out free gators and free alligator stuffed animals. And I'm like, I want my stuffed animal. But, we couldn't get in. Unfortunately, one of my friends did have a chance to get in. And I'm glad that she got in because she came to DC on a whim. And she just wanted to really go and see the state of Florida. So let's go to the next slide. So this, of course, Cape May County, New Jersey. My producers, is from New Jersey. So is Damon Galdo, and Justin Murphy's running for U.S. Senate. So they know Cape May County, New Jersey very well. But Cape May County stepped it up. They made sure that they had their own space, their own room in New Jersey, because the damn governor, Patrick Murphy, who freaking hates Trump, not Murphy, Vicky Sherrill, hates Trump, and they did not want to acknowledge New Jersey here, the entire state. They were protesting against Trump, but certain counties, like a county in Pennsylvania, Cape May County, they stepped it up and they said, you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to be a part of the Great American Fair. And I'm glad that they did, because this was in my opinion, one of the best states that did something for the 250 years of America. Let's go to the next slides. So this was the main Ferris wheel. It was a very slow Ferris wheel. I didn't have a chance to go up it. I'm not a huge Ferris wheel person, but it was a beautiful Ferris wheel, and it was huge, and so many people went on it. And look at it. It's got a gorgeous view of the Capitol. As you can see, you have a list of some of the states to the right. There was also concessions there. There was food you could get. I did find kosher ice cream, because I keep kosher inside and outside of my home. It was marked OUD, KD. And there was a lot of religious Orthodox people. So if you are a religious Orthodox person and you're looking for kosher food at the fair, they do serve kosher ice cream, especially the soft serve vanilla is KD. They do have a chocolate chip cookie with vanilla filling that is OUD, which means kosher dairy. So you can eat it if you haven't eaten any meat beforehand. Let's go to the next slide. So this is beautiful. So this is my friend Scott Lobato. He's a very famous artist. He lives in New York, Staten Island. He is a big Mondami hater. He's a huge anti-Semite. He combats anti-Semitism. Hello. He called out Zohar Mondami for being an anti-Semite, and he's very good friends with my #Jexit organization. He actually painted a picture for my Jexit spokesperson, Siggy Flicker, and he's done so many great things for the Jexit organization. He loves my president, Michelle Lubin-Terrace, who's the founder of #Jexit, and he was like my hero. And it was funny because I saw him on Real America's Voice with Ben Burkham, who was interviewing him. And when I saw Scott, I was like, I just saw you on Real America's Voice last night. And he was really cool and just a really great guy, very down to earth. And these are some of his paintings that he paints. And this is how he makes his living. And he does a great job. And we really, really appreciate him. He's a great patriot. And I had the pleasure of taking some pictures with him, but when you go to the Great American Fair, when you go to this exhibit, he's literally there live. So if you've never met him before and you want to see the artist, you got to go to the Great American Fair and you have to meet Scott Lobato. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, and then there's me. I stood in front of a TikTok thing. They were taking pictures. Look how tan I am. I got so tan. I look so pale here. Oh my God. I got so tan. I got sunburnt. This is a real tan, guys. This is not a spray tan. We Jews, we burn and then we tan. So I burn and then I tan. That's the olive skin in me. But I mean, I was so tan. I was so brown. It was nice to be brown for a couple of days. And I look very pale on camera now, but I'm actually very brown still. My skin is still peeling from all the sunburning that I got and the suntan that I got. Let's go to the next slide. This is very famous. This is the Lincoln Memorial. I can tell you a nostalgic moment. When I was 6 years old, I first saw this statue. I went with my bubby, which is Yiddish for grandma. I went with my mother's parents, my Aunt Jill, which is my mother's sister, my mother, my sister. And when I first saw that statue, I screamed bloody murder. I was so afraid that Abraham Lincoln was going to come out of the statue and grab me and never see my parents again. And as a 6-year-old, your imagination goes wild. And you watch these like shows on Disney where it literally shows Abraham Lincoln getting out of the statue and talking to Bugs Bunny or whatever. So going there again as a grown adult, I mean, would I want to be there by myself with Abraham Lincoln late at night? Probably not. But it was just so cool to see this years later, to reminisce about the time that I saw it for the first time. And it's so nostalgic and it's so beautiful. And I'm so glad that I got to go back to the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument and see these beautiful things. This is why I love DC. This is why I love coming to DC, because there's such history here. And, people want to live here. People want to have a home here, have a life here. It's very expensive to live in DC. The taxes are up the wazoo. Unless you work for the federal government, then it's worth it to live. Or if you work for an elected official. But summertime in DC is just so historic. To come to see the history, I advise everybody to come to DC to see the history, to get involved, and just to have their children learn about the Declaration of Independence, to go to the Great American Fair, to look up all 50 states. And what they do is they give you like a fake passport and they stamp every state that you've been in. And I agree with Donald Willinger. It's a lot safer in DC than it was before. I mean, none of my friends can carry. They don't have permits to carry. They have constitutional carry, but they don't have concealed carry. And it's very hard to get concealed carry in DC. So, for my friends to be there who don't have their gun on them and to say, they feel safe, that's a good thing. And I agree with Donald Willinger. It is much safer in DC than it has ever been, and that's because of President Trump. So this next slide that we're going to put up, we're going to feature now my guest star with us, Adam Reuter, who is the founder of the Baltimore Informer. Hopefully he is on.
Hello.
Well, we have his QR code in his face. Can you remove the QR code? There we go. Hey, Adam, how are you?
Hi.
Hi. So, Damon, let's put up that slide again with Tim at the Dundalk Parade. So, Adam, we're going to talk a little bit about the Dundalk Parade. Let's put up the image of me at the parade. Damon, we're going to switch. Nope, not that one. That's later. It's okay. Yep, that one. Let's keep it. And then you can put up the other one, the AI image of me. I don't normally do AI, but I want to do that here. So, Adam, you have been involved in Mr. Fazenbaker, like myself, for almost, I think, 7 years now plus.
Longer than that.
I do want to give credit to
2018. Yep.
Oh wow! I do want to give credit to you because the commercial, the LevineConsulting.co, was made by you. It's a great commercial. I actually filmed it in your home. I love the commercial. I love the commercials that you've done for Tim. You are a very talented man, and now you founded the Baltimore Informer. And I know you were filming a little bit at the parade. Tell us a little bit about your experience at the parade, and also talk to us about being an independent journalist now.
I don't know where to start with that, but I'll just talk about Independence Day, because I think that what Trump put on, regardless of what party you're from, or whether you call yourself a conservative, a liberal, a progressive, a Green Party, whatever, it was a beautiful celebration. It was worth, the government wastes so much money on things. That was a good expenditure, because the country only turns 250 one time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but as far as what happened at the Dundalk Independence Day Parade, I loved it. I have not been to that parade in a long time, and I haven't walked in that parade since I was a teenager. So to see the entire route and to see all the people there, and my favorite part was definitely the kids being excited to get Tim Fazenbaker's rubber ducks
Mm-hmm.
and candy. So that was a cool thing, and just to see, the response from voters, because, I've known Tim since 2018, and to finally see him pull off a primary victory, which was not the Central Committee. A lot of people probably thought, you're going to be ecstatic or happy. I mean, I was happy, but it was more relief, because as you were saying earlier, we're just, as Americans, we are just tired of the same old politicians who have been just destroying this country, neglecting, I think is the better word. Destroy is a strong word, but neglecting neglecting America, neglecting Baltimore County. So to see Tim win after all the stuff that was put out against him, and he was censured by the Republican Central Committee at the last second, like at the 2 days before the early election, I believe it was,
early
maybe
voting.
3.
2 days before early voting.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Sorry.
That's okay.
And then this like last minute postcard, which those are not cheap to send around. I think each mailing is like between $3,000 to $5,000. So this guy who had about $40,000 to campaign with, and Tim didn't have, Tim got ratioed on the fundraising there. I was not 100% sure if Tim was going to pull it off, and fortunately, the people of Dundalk, the people of Edgemere, the people of Rosedale, they saw through the bull crap. So to see everybody that, supported Tim, giving him thumbs up, shaking his hand, smiling. I'm not going to say everybody likes Tim. That would be a lie. But most people that I saw, it was a positive reaction. For sure.
No, I agree with you. And I just want to say for the record, it is the oldest fair in, I think, the history of the nation, not just Maryland, but in the nation. It's a 2.5-mile walk. So it is a long walk. But yeah, I mean, there was so many people there, and it was a hot day. I mean, it was scorching. I actually threw up, which I've never done. And I watched that.
I'm surprised you admitted that.
Well, I am going to, because it was very hot. It was, they claimed it was like 85 degrees, but it felt like 100 degrees. There was a point where I had to go into the car and hydrate myself because I was very dehydrated. But I did see a lot of love from the people that day. And you're right, and Tim has said this, you may like me or you may not like me, but at the end of the day, the alternative is awful. We don't want the alternative. And I'm not going to get into who the alternative is. But all I can say is that we don't want leftists, socialists, people that believe in Sharia law, people that believe in calls to prayer, people that are like Zohar Mandami entering your district, entering Dundalk, Spurs Point, Edgemere. That is not Dundalk. That is not Spurs Point. That's not Edgemere.
People who are hiding their name.
Yep, people who are hiding their name. I'm not going to get into that. You can report on that, but I'm not going to get into that tonight. But I just want to say thank you to you, Adam Reuter, because you exposed Tim's opponent. And I really believe that your reporting was one of the reasons why Tim won the primary. It was a very excellent written article. You didn't ask Tim about it. You just did your own research. You put it out all by yourself. And
yeah, Tim never asked me to do this. And I'll be honest with you, Alexandra, I was getting really concerned about Fort Howard.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let me look through the people running for District 9. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'll go back to saying it, like, I was kind of surprised Tim didn't have the financial support that he did in his previous years.
Well, I can tell you, he did have a lot more support than he has in previous runnings. I can tell you that. Being his political consultant, I can tell you that.
Okay. So with that being said, though, when you have somebody who's up against somebody that has a lot more money in the campaign bank, you get concerned as a supporter of that candidate. So I'm like, okay, well, who was actually financing this guy? Because when you go to the finance form, the first thing you see is the total.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, if he's got a bunch of $100 donations from individuals, that's cool. Oh no, that was not the case. Yep. I mean, he did get donations from individuals, but his biggest donations were from another political candidate. Mm-hmm. His developers, that was the big thing. When I saw all those developer donations, and then donations from lawyers of developers, and that's when the alarm bells went off in my head, and I said, this guy, who we knew was friendly with the opposing party, and that's never a good thing, because I'll tell you, you're not going to find recent photos of me with politicians I don't agree with. Mm-hmm. You might find some pictures of me when I was in my 20s and I didn't know any better, or when I was a teenager and I didn't know any better. But you're not going to find any pictures of me within the last 10 years shaking hands, buddying up, showing my Maryland socks. I mean, what was that?
With your cousin, by the way, Johnny Oshevsky. I have to admit that for the record. Sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for complimenting me on that work. Again, Tim should have asked me to write an article, but he didn't. And I was just like very concerned about my area. So when I started finding all this out, I'm like, I better put this on the website and connect the dots for people, because the Dundalk Eagle's not doing it. The Avenue News isn't doing it. The Baltimore Sun certainly isn't doing it. You have to understand, Alexandra, that as big as Baltimore County is, the news coverage in this town is crappy.
Yeah, I agree.
And in my opinion, the reason for that is money. Everybody likes the money.
I will be honest. I hate to get you off, but I do thank the Baltimore Banner for exposing Todd Crandall, because he exposed a lot of things that we knew that we couldn't say. So I do applaud them for exposing Todd Crandall and his drunkenness, because that actually triggered him to not run again. And if Todd Crandall would have run again, would Tim have beat him? It would have been tough, or maybe not.
I don't think he would have. I don't think he could have if that information didn't come out.
Right. So in my opinion, it's good that came out. What really helped Tim, especially, was the redistricting, because Tim is basically in his base. His base is Sparrows Point. His base is Edgemere. He doesn't have Essex. We call it the Essex crowd. The Essex crowd is a crowd that gets heavily manipulated by elected officials like Todd Crandall, like Johnny Ray Salling, and Rick Metzger. And we have Rosedale, which is more Democrat than Republican, but it's just a sliver of Rosedale. And it's so funny that, Tim's opponent and Metzger and Salling were holding on to Rosedale like it would make a difference, which of course it didn't. And what really bothered me also was the way that they, like you said, when they tried to get rid of Tim from the Central Committee, they came up with bizarre things that weren't even true, number one, but also they attacked Tim when he was already a declared candidate and his opponent wasn't even a declared candidate yet. Under the bylaws, you can attack anyone you want if they're a private, citizen, if they're a declared candidate. Now, under the bylaws, you're not allowed to attack someone if they're an elected official or if they are part of the Central Committee. Well, Mr. Urbach wasn't a part of the Central Committee when Tim put out under his own personal Facebook, now, for the record, Tim has never stated Tim Fazenbaker for Baltimore County Republican Central Committee. No, he used his personal Facebook, which is, again, not against the bylaws. He used his personal Facebook as a declared candidate. He declared himself a candidate in July before Mr. Urbach did, and was the one that posted the pictures of Mr. Urbach with Johnny Oshevsky, with Chris Van Hollen, with Governor Westmore, with Johnny Ray Salling and Rick Metzger, and so forth. There was nothing wrong with that. But the Central Committee wanted to deliberately attack Tim. They wanted to embarrass him, humiliate him, make him as an example. And then Tim actually resigned. He resigned to focus on his campaign. He resigned on a Thursday night, and then Monday night, June 8th, they have their meeting where it was a complete bashing of Mr. Fazenbaker. And then they had Johnny Ray Salling, the state senator, there bashing Tim, lying about him, pushing this resolution to censure Tim Fazenbaker, who is a private citizen, which is against the bylaws. And then they went into executive session, which everybody knows that the press leaked executive session. And how did the press know about executive session? Because the Central Committee members, again, went against their bylaws and leaked to the press about what was going on in executive session. So what was going on in executive session was they were literally putting together a resolution to censure Tim, to hurt him, to say, well, if he wins as a Central Committee member, we want to make sure he doesn't come back again. Breaking the bylaws repeatedly. And I love the fact that not only did Mr. Fazenbaker win on Tuesday night, he won the county council primary, but guess what? He won his Central Committee seat back by getting the most votes with his friend Daniel Eisenhardt, who also got screwed by the Central Committee because Daniel Eisenhardt was Tim Fazenbaker's alternate. So as a result of Tim resigning, his alternate they got rid of Daniel Eisenhardt as the alternate. So now Daniel Eisenhardt will go in there in November, and he'll be there for 4 years, and he'll kick butt. cut and he'll make a bigger name for himself. And he will reshape, in my opinion, the Central Committee as best he can. But I can tell you, Patty Fallon is the chairwoman, and I discussed this earlier on. She should resign. She should step down. They should remove her as chairwoman. It is disgusting that more than a half of her members decided not to run again. She lost some great conservatives that were on the Central Committee, and some of them actually are resigning before November because they've had enough. What say you about that, Adam?
I hope you don't mind if I deviate a little bit, because I honestly don't know too much about how the Central Committee works and
Well, that's where I come in. That's
the bylaws. What I would like to see happen, though, because I'm looking at this as an outsider when I'm talking right now, we need to remember why people vote, what our representatives are supposed to be doing. And this also is a message to the Central Committee, is remember what your purpose is. Remember why you're there. This isn't necessarily about you, Central Committee member or county council member. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot that need to be fixed in Baltimore County. So I hate to make it like I hate to put it like this, but it reminds me of high school, high school drama.
It is.
And it's disgusting. To use your word, it's disgusting.
I know, that's my favorite word I use on the show. Yeah, I mean, it is disgusting what happened, but like I said earlier, karma is a bitch. And Tim literally destroyed and took down the Rhino establishment of Maryland in one night. And it was so victorious. And Mr. Faisberry doesn't really get emotional. He doesn't cry, but he did get emotional Tuesday night, especially when he called his wife to say, I won. And then, of course, he was officially certified yesterday. Because as you said, this man got thrown in the kitchen sink. This man was called everything in the sun. They said the most horrible things about him. And even some of his enemies are still attacking him, and they're attacking me. This guy, I won't say his name because I'm not giving him any credence, but he's a business owner in town. And he called me ugly and chubby. I want to thank him because it actually helped him win, because you really shouldn't shame a woman. It's not really nice.
Do you want to know who I heard about that from? This is how far this gets out. My brother-in-law actually brought that to my attention.
Wow.
So people are watching.
Yeah.
People are watching. They're reading. They're seeing stuff posted online.
Owner, as you know, he owns, I think, a towing company or a car shop.
I'm not going to get into what he does, but
we're not giving him any credence. Anyway, he's just a.
This is what I think about it. If you have to resort again to high school name calling tactics,
ugly, chubby, fat, ugly loudmouth, he called me. He told me to go back to Florida. And it's funny because his enemies looked up my home in Florida, looked up my father, looked up what my father does, his assets, how many homes he owns. Well, at least we know that my father did very well for himself and helped my family and I out. But I mean, who does this?
Good for him.
Stuff. But yeah, I mean, good for him. I'm very modest about my father and how much he makes, but I mean, and to say, and this one woman, she thinks that all Jews are related to the Rothschilds, and of course, everybody hates the Rothschilds. So,
I remember that.
Her fat ass. She'll still be a fat ass no matter what. It doesn't matter how much Ozempic she takes or what medication she's on. She'll still be a fat ass in everyone's
By the way, I think I'm going to buy her a tinfoil hat as a gift. Because I tell you, the amount of conspiracies this woman came up with. I mean, she's like, oh my goodness, why is somebody from Florida helping somebody from Baltimore? And I'm just like, do you know the story, woman? Alexandra met Tim in Arizona.
Correct.
And liked what he was all about politically. And that's pretty much how it started back in 2019.
Yeah, that's correct. And as a political consultant, my job is to work nationally. And I've lived in the DC area for many years. My family was born in the DC area. So it's so funny that I'm doing work in DC. My brother-in-law does work in DC. My father still has his first suit from when he worked for the DOJ. My parents will be buried in the DMV area. So my father and my mother and I, we talked about how the roots, our roots are Maryland, and how the majority of my family is coming back to our roots. We're coming back to Maryland. So it's just very interesting. But I want to put up, the first image, I want to put up Tim's certification that he won as county council. Let's put that up, even shared. So that's really important. So he won altogether. It was really 40%, but at the end of it, it's 1,539 votes against the main opponent was J.D. Urbach, 988. I mean, Tim literally won by almost 600 votes, which is amazing. Now he will be facing a woman named Markia Wade. She won by 1,604 votes, just a little bit more. And she also ran against 3 other people. And I can tell you the other guy who ran in the Democrat primary, his name is Mark McCluskey. He actually became friendly with Tim. Actually, Tim and I, we were friends with Arkia. We were friends with Mark McCluskey. We were actually friends with the Democrats that were running. And we were, it was just, anytime there was a Democrat, we'd say, vote for this person. Anytime there was a Republican, we said, vote for Tim Fazenbaker and Daniel Eisenhart. So we all became friends. And Jake Mohorovic and Russ Mirable, they called Tim, they congratulate him, and they're working with him. I would advise the people that did work for J.D. Urbach and who voted for him to now unite with Tim Fazenbaker, to vote for him, which I think they will, to stand by their Republican nominee. Again, regardless if you like him or not, because again, the alternative is much worse. Like I said, Arkia Wade is a very nice woman, but we haven't had a Democrat in Dundalk since your cousin was a state delegate. Since Johnny O was in like 2014, is that correct, Adam? Or was it before then? Maybe. Well,
yeah, I think he ran for state senate in 2014, so he had to give up his delegate seat.
Yeah, so it's been Republican in your area since 2014. So we don't want it to flip. And as I said before, Dundalk's Ferris Point Edgemere is MAGA country. It's Trump country. It's hardcore America first. And the majority of Democrats, like yourself, Adam, vote Republican in the general. It's just it is how it is, because they feel that the Republican, at the end of the day, the elected officials, most of them, not all of them, represent them. I'm a big proponent of Delegate Bob Long. I want him to win again. He came in first place out of the 3. Robin Grammer, he votes conservative, but he kisses the butt of rhinos. Not a huge fan of him. It was funny, he campaigned on election day for this woman named Sally Taylor, and she ended up losing. And he's also currently dating Lauren Erikin, who's a delegate who just won re-election. There's rumors saying that Mr. Grammer doesn't really live in his district anymore. He may be shacking up in Hartford County with his girlfriend, Lauren Erikin. That's something that the Baltimore Informer can look into. But I mean, it's interesting. And then of course there's reports that Mr. Sailing doesn't live in his district. And that was one of the reasons why Daniel Eisenhart did as well as he did. He didn't get pummeled by Mr. Sailing. He actually came, I think he only lost by 800 votes, which is ironic because it's the same amount of votes that Tim lost when he ran against Mr. Sailing for Congress in 2020. So it shows that the people, like you said, Adam, they're really looking at their elected officials. They're pointing out, what they voted for and that they don't represent the people. I mean, Mr. Sailing and Mr. Metzger have voted for tax hikes. They voted for increasing Obamacare. They voted for the Kerwin bill. And also, I believe that Mr. Metzger and Mr. Sailing do believe in Section 8 housing, especially at St. Rita's Church. And they're the ones that are pushing for Section 8 housing at Fort Howard, even though they're claiming that they're not. As you know, Fort Howard is Tim Fazenbaker's baby, but he's not doing it for votes. He's doing it because he really cares about the veterans and he cares about the people of Fort Howard. And a lot of Fort Howard people voted for Tim. And let's, Damon Chair, let's go to the next slide with the certification of the Central Committee with Tim.
Well, can I say something about what you just said?
Oh, go ahead.
So
you have about
I hope that the incumbent candidates see this as a wake-up call and see this as do better in Annapolis and do better locally. Like we kind of don't hear from them as often. Now you did go out to Robin Grammer. I actually support Robin because I think that he is out there a lot more along with Bob Long. The other two, not a big fan of. But I really hope that these candidates look at the primary results and they get a wake-up call that, hey, you keep it up as you've been doing. In 4 years, you're out of here.
I'll just say the one thing that bothered me about Robin Grammer is he didn't endorse Bob Long. He went out and endorsed Sally Taylor, who's not even in his county. She's up in Carroll County, and she lost. And instead of election day, trying to work, trying to talk with his voters and, help, Bob Long, his fellow delegate, he's up endorsing another delegate. And he actually did a dig on his delegates, on the other delegates. He went after David Marks, which was stupid. And again, he's had an open affair with Lauren Erikin while he's still married. It was very.
Yeah, I don't know about his personal affairs, but
Well, I do.
um,
They were on the
yeah.
same. They work on the same floor. They're two doors down from each other on the fourth floor, and that's where a lot of their affair happened. And they're
Oh,
literally
in the legislative building.
yeah, and they're literally having an affair during session on your taxpayer dollars, by the way. So that's what bothers me. Instead of doing your job, you're screwing and having an affair, and that's what's common, unfortunately, in this industry, especially in the federal government level. A lot of affairs happen, and it's disgusting. It's called do your job. And I agree with you. This was a wake up call to a lot of the incumbents. A lot of voters that I talked to, they're fed up with the incumbents. So I agree with you that some of the incumbents need to step up and really be there for their constituents. I feel that's one of the reasons why Todd Crandall had to step down, because he wasn't with his constituents. As I said earlier, every time his constituents would call him with a concern, he never picked up the phone, and his staff never picked up the phone.
I was one of them. I still vividly remember there was an old lady who had she got fined by the county for having a toilet on her front lawn, which was not hers. Somebody just dumped it there.
Oh,
we're talking about a woman in her mid 80s.
I remember this.
She can't pick a toilet up, and instead of saying, "Ma'am," basically the county just gives you, they tape a fine to your front door, and then it's and I don't know if you've been around elderly people. They get very anxious about things, and a lot of them live on fixed incomes. And so I was very concerned about this. So I called up Todd Crandall's office, emailed them, left a voicemail, because every time you would call, nobody would actually answer. It would be a voicemail, which is fine. I get it. Never heard back about this incident. Never heard back whether this lady, I think it was a $500 fine. I might be wrong about the amount, but it was significant. Even a $50 fine would have been ridiculous for something that's not somebody's fault. Anyway, the community came together. There were multiple guys in the comment section who were junk remover types who go to the dump in White Marsh often. And they said, "I'll be by with my pickup truck. Let me know the address." And it got taken care of. This is what the government should be. They shouldn't just be giving out fines to people to make up for their lack of tax revenue or whatnot. And I think this kind of stuff is why Tim won too. Because people are just tired of it. They're tired of it, and they know that Tim is going to represent them properly, whether they're Democrat, whether they're Republican.
And I can tell you, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I can tell you, Tim is very good crossing the aisle. He's very good at working with Democrats, independents. There's actually a lot of Democrats that actually were working to help him win the primary because they want to see him in there. And he has been working so hard and been fighting for so long. And again, he's not a self-serving man. He does it for the love of the people. He does it for his children. Tim has 4 children between the ages of 12 up to college age. His daughter got a full ride scholarship to college. And Bob Long gave her a scholarship. Frank Niehoff gave her a scholarship. She's a very brilliant girl. His son, TJ, is very brilliant as well. I remember Tim, he would always send me his kids' report cards. So he was so proud that his kids were straight A students. And it's a reflection of the parents. It's a reflection of his wife and of him. And his wife is very supportive of what he does. And, she's seen the blows and she's heard it too. And she doesn't like to see her husband, get attacked like this. But she knows that they're attacking him because he's doing something right. And this proves these numbers right here, him winning the most votes again for the Central Committee, him getting back to the Central Committee after they censured him is number one, it's an FU to the Central Committee for censuring him. But number 2, it's telling the chairwoman that the people love Tim, that the people want Tim, that the people voted for Tim because he believes in them, he will work with them, he adheres to their beck and call. And I'm so proud of this. Now, Deb Sullivan was not in Tim's district. She was redistricted. She ended up in his district. I was actually hoping that she didn't win because she's a very vindictive woman and she's never liked Tim. And she has broken many bylaws. She has donated money to Carl Jackson, who's a Democrat, as a Central Committee member, which is against the bylaws. And there's been investigations like in the Ethics Committee of the Baltimore County Central Committee, as well as the MDGOP. And she gets away with it because she's got the money, because she gives $1,000 here, $1,000 there. Her husband gives thousands of dollars there. They're very well-to-do people in the area. I think they live, in Dundalk. And I'm just like, I'm baffled by this. Like, the woman breaks the bylaw.
Well, you know what it is. People don't want their vehicles towed.
Yeah, that's true. But keep in mind,
Terrible
Tim
joke.
Is an ex-county councilman. Yeah, I know. Tim is an ex-county councilman. He's got the power of the purse here. He controls the developers. He controls the contracts. So, I hate to say, Deb Sullivan, you're going to have to work with Tim Fazenbaker, whether you like him or not. He will be your next councilman. You're going to have to work with him, because if not, guess what? The contract is going to get cut real soon, and he may have to contact your husband's competitor. Whoops, that's going to suck.
Yeah, well, I don't like getting down in dirt like the political pigs, just because I think going down to their level is what they want, because that's what they can do. They can call you and I names, they can call Tim names, but what they can't do is get us on the substance. And the substance for me, and I'm hoping that, like, over the next few months, just the plans are made, and attending the community associations.
Your campaign's over with, like, with the Republicans and the rhinos, like the people right now that still hate Trump, not Trump, they still hate Tim, and they hate Trump too. They have what we call Tim derangement syndrome, and now they have Alexandra derangement syndrome. They need to cut it out. We need to come together here. And what we really need is high Republican turnout for Tim, because he lives in a very high density Republican district. If we don't have those 4 to 5 star Republicans to come out for Tim, it's going to suck for him. So these damn rhinos that keep hurting Tim and attacking Tim and I, they need to cut it out, because it's not working, and they need to come together and just listen to Tim and trust. I say, trust the man, trust the plan. They need to trust Tim on this, because he's been working on this for years. He knows what the hell he's doing, and he really wants to do for the people. He's not using Fort Howard as a campaign talking point. He and I have both been talking to the Trump administration, people in the Trump administration, to fix Fort Howard, to make it for the veterans, to make sure that Section 8 housing doesn't go in there and ruin it for the veterans. And that's what's really important. We just have like 30 seconds. Promote yourself, Adam. Tell my viewers how they can view you, how they can read your articles, and how they can follow you.
Well, first of all, thank you to Damon. Thank you to you for inviting me on today's episode for America 250. BaltimoreInformer.com is where you can find local news. I don't do daily articles. It's just basically articles that are overlooked by the bigger media outlets that I find to be important. I do try to research them pretty well. I just put one out about 2 hours ago about how Dan Cox, they had written an incorrect headline about him years ago, and it's being resurfaced, so I corrected the record on that. So BaltimoreInformer.com, and on Twitter it's Informer or something like that. But anyway, it's all on there. Articles dating back to the year 2024. And again, thank you, Alexandra, for inviting me on the show.
You're welcome. And you're more than welcome to come on. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been commenting. Michelle Narek, who's a good friend of Tim, she said, Tim is the only candidate that showed up to our church for our first disability prayer gatherings. He supports families with disabilities, which is true. Also, we want to put up Mr. Fazenbaker, who is now the Republican nominee for Baltimore County Council District 9. Let's put up his QR code. There we go. And please go to timfazenbaker.com, make a donation. Maximum is $6,000. We will take anybody's donation, anybody that supports his agenda and supports America first. Please, guys, go to timfazenbaker.com. You can always email him, tim@timfazenbaker.com. He will respond. He will check his email, and he will show up at a moment's notice. There's his QR code. Again, he is now the Republican nominee. All Republicans in his area, Dundalk, Edgemere, Sparrows Point, Rosedale, need to come together and to vote for him. Independents as well, and some Democrats. He will make it so much better for you guys. He'll be the best county councilman that you've ever had. And of course, we have our friend Justin Murphy from New Jersey. He's running for U.S. Senate. Let's put up his QR code. There we go, Justin Murphy. He is the Republican nominee for the U.S. Senate, New Jersey. He is going after the incumbent Cory Booker, who's an anti-Semite, hates white people. He's a mess, and people love Justin Murphy's hair. His hair is like what's getting the ladies. The ladies love his hair. He's a nice guy. He's single, ladies, so this is a nice time if you're, want to get to know him. Go to his events. He has been all over the state. He's been campaigning everywhere. Jewish Republicans and Jewish Democrats, please vote for Justin Murphy. He supports Israel. He supports your right to exist. He's not part of the socialist progressiveness. I beg the Jewish community of New Jersey to vote for this man. Jews need to vote Republican. They really do. The Republican Party, especially Mr. Murphy, he's not part of the alt-right. He's not a Nick Fuentes guy. He is a Ronald Reagan Republican, and he will support you and take care of you. Do not vote for Cory Booker. Cory Booker hates your guts. And of course, we have Damon Galdo from the Jersey Shore, who is the Republican nominee for U.S. Congress District Number 2. He is touring the entire state with Justin Murphy. They've been doing a lot of events together. They've been getting a lot of buzz. Please, guys, donate to Damon Galdo. These guys need money. This is the federal government, guys. This is federal level. You need money on the federal level to win. And he's going up against an incumbent and who is terrible for this country, terrible for the state of New Jersey. As you know, New Jersey is a liberal state, but we can flip it. We can flip certain seats. We can make it red again. We can make all the states red again. As you remember, during the campaign, President Trump had over 100,000 people in Wildwood, New Jersey for him. And so people thought that New Jersey would flip red. I was convinced that Jack Ciaffarelli was going to be the next governor of New Jersey. But guys, we need to have it too big to rig. As you know, New Jersey is known for their mail-in ballots, their ballot harvesting. We have to make it too big to rig. We have to give money to these guys. We need real conservatives. And these guys are not politicians. They're not incumbents. They're just regular, everyday people. Damon Galdo has a wonderful wife, children. He's got a great family. He's a construction worker. He does a lot. He's a builder. So please, guys, go to that QR code and give a donation to Damon Galdo. Again, don't forget, every Wednesday we have The Pulse. I will be hosting The Pulse tomorrow night. We will be having a couple special guests. Hopefully we'll have Justin Murphy, a young 15-year-old prodigy named Frank. Damon will be able to join us. Elena Barbara, from the Base Mother, will be on. So please, guys, watch us tomorrow night on The Pulse. We usually go from 8 to 9:30. Seth Eisenberg from the Conservative Court will be there. He's like, we need to do 2 hours with The Pulse, but it's a great show and we love it. And it's been on for a year, and we have some great guests, and we have some great topics and we'll probably talk about the same topics tomorrow night that we talked about tonight. And of course, we have the New Jersey State House show with Jack Bergen and Constance Sissel. They're the first and the third Tuesday of every month. Sometimes they get a fifth Tuesday in there. And of course, I come in on the second to the fourth Tuesday of the month, and I'm on every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. And of course, don't forget the Jersey Shore is every Monday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Again, thank you to everyone who was following Michelle Nurek, Donald Willinger, many others. I know I have a lot of friends that watch the show that don't comment. And we do have a lot of people that watch the show the next day. The retweets, the repostings, that really helps. It really ups our numbers. Again, we're on like 15 different channels, and we appreciate everybody who has helped in that. And also we appreciate the people that have been watching our show. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks for watching. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up, because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, Elena, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Alexandra, thanks you for watching tonight's Alexandra Levine live podcast. See you at the next packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you informed. So, please click the subscribe button to get notified for upcoming episodes. If you like what the Alexandra talked about, then share the Alexandra Levine live podcast with others. Alexandra also looks forward to seeing you on the next upcoming episode.